Okay, hello, welcome back to the Land Rover Toolbox again. Right, last week we talked about what we could do for a project on this discovery, and I put it out to you to see what sort of thoughts you had about what to do. It's been very interesting reading the comments, of course, and it has solidified just a little bit what I have in mind for what we could do. One really important point came up, and this is a good timing. This is from Dan Buckley, and he's basically asking about the finance and everything else, and how can you actually turn your dreams into reality. Well, we are going to talk about this, but I need to let you know a few things and what's been happening. Well, some of you guys know I'm an HGV fitter. I spend a lot of time, I've devoted a lot of my working life in the last 10 years on looking after a certain fleet of HGV trailers. This work is now petering off because contracts change. It's the nature of it. I mean, I've been made redundant 3 times. However, there is opportunities at my workplace, and I'm looking towards getting a position as a van fitter. Rather than going on the trucks. I'm getting older now, but we'll see soon whether I get this position of looking after a fleet of lighter vehicles, and this will be in the same workshop. What I'm having to do here is explain my personal life so you understand exactly where we are with the LRTV at the moment. So I told you last week that my son has moved in with me, and this is permanent. However, this doesn't come without consequences. One of these, I've had to rearrange my shift pattern, which means I've had to lose 15% of my wages, so I'm at home with my son, which I'm prepared to do. I don't care. He comes first. And obviously this is a knockback on everything else. I'd also say that the money that I did have for the 110 project has gone to the wall. That's gone because I'm getting a divorce. And also, my lodger moved out, which is £250 extra a month that's gone. So you can see I'm at actually zero for doing any project. And this, to me, isn't like, oh shit, well, I'll just give up, because I don't usually give up. It's more a case of, right, well, this is a challenge. Let's see how we can work through this. And this is probably the most interesting thing to do. Well, I will say that now with the LRTV, I'm going to make it into a vlog rather than tutorials. So the people who want to follow me can, and the rest who just want to learn stuff, well, it will be in there. I'll still be doing the same thing, but it will be more, well, I don't know. We'll have to see how it goes, okay? Now, this, as it's titled, is budgeting for a project, and I'm going to get you lot involved. I want your help, okay, and advice, and see how some of you guys have managed to make the money, or how you've budgeted, or how you've saved up, and what things cost for the projects you want to do. And for other people who are watching, and this is the most interesting bit for them, it will help them to work ways around of being able to finance a project, because as I am now, I'm on zero, and the good thing here is that I've been collecting tools, and I've got those resources. What we don't have, like what we had with the Bearmark project a couple of years ago, is we don't have the bits, but we do have the vehicle, and we have more time, which this makes it more interesting. What will be even better here is that Eugene, he needs to be trained. I'd like to get him off to an engineering college at some point. I'd like him to go into the trade, and he's at the right age now where he's showing interest in this sort of thing. So this is what I mean by bringing him on board slowly. I'll get the mech tech, and I'll share this with you. Some of you guys probably are apprentices and you don't know stuff. And I was a teacher for a while. I've still got the resources from level 1 onwards. So this could actually be of more value to some people than others. But I will try to give value all the way around to keep it as we've had it, or nearly as we had it, because this is something I don't want to lose now. Obviously, you guys that follow us know that this is a value for you. Things are changing all the way around. Things always change, and you'll find that some of the YouTubers that have had subscription channels have now been taken off anyway. So we're all being hammered. So we got to find cheaper ways of doing things, or different ways of doing things. So let's discuss this project now and ways of making money. Now, I'll put a few ideas forward, and I'd like you to make comments below and see if we can get a discussion struck up. Okay? Right, so what I'd like to kick off with first is the definition of two meanings. One of those is an asset, and the other is a liability. So we're all reading on the same page. What I'd like to say is an asset is something that actually brings you money in. It's not something you just own and it's there. Unless it's collecting value, it's still not bringing you money until you sell it. Okay, and a liability is something that costs you money when you've got it, and this is something like a house you got to pay rent on, or a car that you have to pay insurance on and tax and to have to run and repair. This is the difference. This is where I want to start from. So with me, I have a fair amount of tools and equipment. We've got the welders. Obviously, there's never enough equipment to for what you want, but I have the basics, which I've been collecting for years. It's just a habit with me. The other thing, in assessment, I can cut back in certain areas, which I'm going to have to do, make things more efficient in the house. And the other thing, liability that I have is smoking. And a vehicle that I use for work, do I need it? I only drive 2 miles there and 2 miles back. I can use a bicycle. I can get rid of that liability, for instance, and that's going to save me £40 a month on diesel for starters, and the tax and insurance, because the insurance is due pretty shortly. That's another oh shit, I have to ride in the rain. The other thing with the smoking, that's probably around about £150 per month, so that's going to be chucked out the window pretty shortly if I can do it. Okay, well, for possible or earners I have here, okay, I've got time. I've got more time now. I'm with my son, and I can bring jobs in for him to work on if people are willing to pay. So the time for me is an asset that I can sell, as it were. Obviously, there's a limit to it, and I'm not going to do just anything for anybody for free. And I mean, especially in the Land Rover world, it comes down to when you get mates, they tend to want to have things done for nothing. But also, time and labour can also be exchanged for parts, which is this is a good way to go. This is what I'm thinking. The other thing is, I do have actually 2 spare rooms in my house, and these are potential money earners. Obviously, I let them out. I've got to pay tax on them, and I've got to run the house, and it does cost more. So this is something that has to be budgeted in. However, this is a potential. Well, we could say maybe £500 a month extra in my pocket. You take off the tax, and that's probably about £300. Which, yeah, okay, that's not too bad if it could be constant, but it's unpredictable. The other thing, obviously, over time, the extra hour or 2 a day, yeah, that's money in, but it's also time gone. So this is something, spending your time wisely to get the most value out of it. It's possible, but the more overtime you do, the less time you actually have, even though you will have the money. Taking into consideration that you will have to pay tax on it, especially you get to a certain threshold in the UK. Anyway, this is just a few thoughts. I'd like you to put some ideas forward and see what you think, because, like I say, this could actually help other people, not just myself getting a project on. Anyway, the Patreon, you can, if you want to, help us out by giving money to us. I know it's hard for some people too. The Land Rover Brotherhood isn't usually about this. It's trying to get as much for free as possible. However, if you value what we do here, then you will obviously help us out, which will help you out. And from some of the people who've said that we've saved them a fortune over the years, then this is just something to say that it's accreditation. However, it's up to you. Take it as you want to. Right, as for the D2 project here, and it has been quite difficult to get my head around it. However, what I think we should do is a double crew cab, space framed with a flatbed on the back of it. So what we're getting is possibly the best of the three components. Now, to do a crew cab, it wouldn't take too much. Obviously, the back needs to be done. The chassis needs welding up. Maybe it could be stretched and a gull wing type of flatbed on the back, and then space framed around the cab and the front. I don't know what you think about this. If you can actually picture it in your head, this is some sort of vehicle, but my aim and end use of the vehicle is it to be roadworthy and to also be an off-road support vehicle with possibly a welder on the back and some equipment. So the boxes would have to be fitted into the tray somewhere. Plus it would be a passenger carrying vehicle. So, I mean, what do you think about that? Let me know.